I graduated from high school with a 3.1 GPA and 1130 on the SAT, and I was one of the 24% that didn't get into UCLA. I was raised by a single immigrant mother who lived and died of secretary, and I didn't get in, so I started installing shelving. I was making 18 bucks an hour. I thought that was a lot of money. And I remember this vividly. I came home one day, and I was just so upset. You know, my whole life people told me I was creative, and I was smart, and funny, and the rest of it. And I said to my mom, I just kind of broke down. I'm like, this is my life? And there's nothing wrong with vocational work, but I thought I was going to go to college. And she said, well, is there something we could do? And I found out there was something called an appeal process, and I appealed to UCLA. And people said to me, I remember this, well, why wouldn't you apply to Michigan or Duke? Just get on a plane and go down there and tell them your story. And people don't realize, if you grew up with some money, I think you can have empathy for poor people, or I was the upper, lower middle class, but you don't really know what it's like. I didn't have a credit card. I wasn't going to get on a plane. I was either going to live at home or I wasn't going to college. Anyways, I applied, and the truth has a nice ring to it. I said, I'm installing shelving, and I really have bigger plans. And some guy in the admissions department called me, and I remember this the rest of my life. He said, you're not qualified, but you're a native son of California, and we're going to give you a shot. And because they had a lot of seats relative to the number of applicants, they had the bandwidth to let in unremarkable kids. And this is a flex, and I'm going to make it. In the last 5 years, I've given $16 million back to Berkeley and UCLA. So it's worked out for all of us. Because here's the thing, no institution or individual can recognize or be the arbiter of greatness in an 18-year-old. Higher ed should be about giving as many kids a shot as possible. Chicago's actually better than most places. You've increased your enrollments by 30% over the last 10 years. You've tripled them in the last 40 years. By the way, your endowment's gone from $800 million to $11.5 billion. I just interviewed the president of Dartmouth. They have an $8 billion endowment, and they let in 500 kids, and they haven't increased their enrollment, and they're in the middle of goddamn nowhere. What is the constraint there? They have more than enough money. They could go to 5,000 in 5 years. They're not space constrained, they're not faculty constrained. They're constrained by a new zeitgeist in America that says we want to be LVMH. The faculty and the alumni love a rejectionist culture. Once you get a house, you decide you don't want to issue more housing permits because scarcity of college diplomas from elite institutions or good institutions and new houses means the incumbents who already have a college degree and already own a home, the value of those things go up.